Hey there, welcome to Dr. Pickleface, the place for crazy stories you won't forget. If you like big surprises, wild drama, and little sweet revenge, you're in the right spot. Subscribe and jump into tales that will make you gasp, laugh, and keep you watching for more. Fun characters, shocking twists, and endings that feel so good. That's Dr. Pickleface. Hit the bell and let's start the fun.
Wear the red dress, the one your husband bought you.
The notification chimed at 1:15 a.m. while Marcus lay awake beside his sleeping wife. Her phone, forgotten on the nightstand, glowed with an Instagram message preview. Can't wait to see you tomorrow, babe. Wear the red dress, the one your husband bought you. Marcus stared at the ceiling, his mathematics teacher's mind calculating probabilities. 15 years of marriage, 3 years of her influencer career. 26,000 followers who believed Julia Hartwell was their feminist icon, their relationship goals, their perfect wife who supported teachers and championed education funding. The message disappeared after 5 seconds, but Marcus had already memorized every word. Marcus waited 3 days before touching Julia's laptop. She'd left it open on the kitchen counter, editing captions for tomorrow's teacher appreciation post. Another performance where she'd thank him publicly while privately mocking his $47,000 salary that barely covers groceries. The cloud backup. Folder labeled Content Private contained 47 video files. The first one made his stomach drop. Julia and her friend Tanya sat in their bedroom, his bedroom, while he was at school. The camera showed his side of the closet, his reading chair, his stack of ungraded papers. He still thinks I love him, Julia laughed, applying lipstick in his dresser mirror. Like, genuinely believes this whole supportive wife thing. It's actually sad. What about the teaching stuff? Tanya asked. Your followers eat that up. Pure gold. Nothing says authentic woman like supporting education. Meanwhile, he can't even afford to take me somewhere decent. Julia turned to face the camera. Watch this. She grabbed one of his favorite books, a worn copy of To Kill a Mockingbird he'd used in class for 8 years, and pretended to read while making exaggerated, confused faces. How does anyone teach this boring garbage? No wonder kids hate school. Marcus paused the video. His hands weren't shaking yet, but they would be. Video 12 showed Julia with Cameron Teller, a PR consultant she'd hired to grow her brand. Cam sat in Marcus's reading chair, his shirt unbuttoned, while Julia straddled his lap. Your husband's at some faculty meeting? Cam asked between kisses. Budget planning? He'll be there until 9, complaining about copy paper costs. Julia pulled back, grinning. He takes it so seriously. Like anyone cares what teachers think about anything. Marcus closed the laptop. He sat in his empty classroom for 2 hours that afternoon, grading calculus tests while 26,000 strangers loved his wife's post about supporting our everyday heroes in education. Her latest selfie, taken in his classroom without permission, had 300 comments calling her wife goals and an angel. When he got home, Julia was recording a TikTok in their kitchen. Marriage tip number 1, she said to her phone, stirring pasta sauce. Always make your husband's favorite dinner when he's had a rough day. Teaching is such hard work, and Marcus deserves to know I appreciate everything he does. She ended the recording and immediately dumped the sauce down the drain. Pizza tonight, she asked without looking up. I'm too tired to cook. Sure, Marcus said. That evening, Julia edited the video while Marcus pretended to grade papers. She added text overlay. He works so hard to educate our future leaders. I'm so lucky to have a teacher husband who puts kids first. #teacher wife #marriage goals #support education. The video got 8,000 likes in 3 hours. Marcus watched her read the comments, laughing at ones that praised her dedication, hearting the ones that called their relationship perfect. Look at this, Julia showed him her phone. Someone said we should write a book about marriage. Interesting idea, Marcus replied. Julia went to bed at midnight. Marcus stayed up until 3, methodically downloading every file from her cloud, every message from her hidden Instagram account, every email from the business account she thought he didn't know about. His mathematics mind organized the data into folders: financial, personal, professional, legal. By dawn, he had a complete picture. The cheating was just the beginning. Julia had been skimming money from sponsored posts, claiming business expenses that didn't exist, and running a fake charity collection for classroom supplies that went straight to her personal account. But the worst file was labeled Exit Plan, Final. It contained screenshots of messages she'd never sent, recordings of conversations that never happened, and a detailed strategy to frame Marcus for emotional abuse when she decided to leave him. Document everything, Cam had advised in a voice memo. Make him look controlling, jealous, maybe violent. Your audience will eat up the survival story. Escaping an abusive teacher husband? Pure content gold. Marcus closed his laptop as Julia's alarm started ringing upstairs. She stumbled down 15 minutes later, already in her robe, hair perfect for her morning, no makeup selfie. Coffee's ready, Marcus said. You're amazing. Julia kissed his cheek for the camera, already recording. Guys, this is why I married a teacher. They wake up early and think of others first. She posted the story while eating cereal, adding a poll. What should I make my hard-working husband for dinner tonight? Marcus left for school without saying goodbye. The Hendersons' dinner party was Julia's idea. We should socialize more, she'd said. It's good for your mental health to get out of the house. Marcus sat at the far end of the table, listening to Julia hold court with their friends. She wore the red dress, the one Cam had mentioned, the one Marcus had bought her for their anniversary. Marcus is so absent-minded, Julia said, cutting into her steak. Last week he spent 20 minutes looking for a parking spot at Target, going in circles like a confused old man. I finally had to point out the massive empty section right in front of him. The table laughed. Jim Henderson nearly choked on his wine. Classic teacher brain, Karen said. Too focused on lesson plans to notice the real world. That's exactly what I told him, Julia beamed. I was like, honey, you can solve calculus problems, but you can't find a parking spot? Marcus cut his chicken, saying nothing. Oh, and get this, Julia continued. He tried to tip the grocery store cashier yesterday. The poor kid had to explain that grocery stores don't work that way. I was mortified. That hadn't happened. Marcus had never been to a grocery store with Julia yesterday, or any day that week, but the story got laughs, so it became truth. At least he's trying, Susan offered. Oh, I love him to pieces. Julia reached over and squeezed Marcus's hand. He's just, academic. Not much common sense outside the classroom. Marcus looked at his wife, really looked at her. The perfectly styled hair, the calculated smile, the way she angled her body toward their friends while touching him, all of it performed for an audience of 6 people who'd known them for 5 years. Excuse me, Marcus stood. I need some air. He stepped onto the Hendersons' back patio and called Daria Wynn, a divorce attorney, whose card he'd been carrying for 3 months. Mr. Hartwell, it's rather late. I need to schedule a consultation, Marcus said. But I'm not ready to file yet. How ready are you to document everything? Marcus watched Julia through the sliding door, demonstrating her ring light setup to Karen and Susan, already recording content at someone else's dinner party. Very ready, he said. The next morning, Julia posted a photo from the dinner with the caption, Last night reminded me how lucky I am to have friends who love us exactly as we are. Marcus might be the absent-minded professor type, but he's my absent-minded professor. #married life, #teacher, wife, #blessed beyond measure. The photo showed Marcus in the background, looking down at his plate while Julia laughed with the other women. Top comment, You're so patient with him. Teacher husbands need extra love. Julia hearted it. Part 3. Script rewrite. Marcus found Julia crying in their bedroom Sunday morning, her phone face down on the comforter. What's wrong? He sat beside her, genuinely concerned despite everything. She wiped her eyes. I feel like we've been distant lately, like maybe I haven't been appreciating you enough. Marcus waited. I saw how quiet you were at dinner, and I realized I might have embarrassed you with those stories. I don't want to be that wife, The one who makes her husband feel small? She looked at him with red-rimmed eyes, mascara slightly smudged, but not enough to ruin the effect. You don't make me feel small, Marcus said. I do, though. Sometimes I think I use you for content without thinking about how it affects you. Julia took his hand. Can we take a photo? Something real, not for posting, just for us. They took 17 photos. Julia posted the best one within an hour. Sometimes the most important conversations happen when the cameras are off. Grateful for a husband who forgives my mistakes and loves me anyway. Marriage isn't perfect, but it's perfect for us. #grateful #marriages work #my forever. While Julia napped, Marcus installed monitoring software on their shared router and created mirrors of her cloud accounts using passwords she'd saved in their browser. The process took 6 hours and required 3 different programs, but his mathematics background made the logic simple. Every digital action creates a trail, and every trail can be followed. That evening, he called his former student, Parker Kim, now a computer science major at State University. "Mr. Hartwell, is everything okay?" "I need a consultation," Marcus said. "I'll pay you for your time." "It's about data recovery and digital privacy." "Legal stuff?" "Very legal. Can we meet Tuesday?" Parker agreed to meet at a coffee shop near campus. Marcus spent Monday night learning about EXIF data, metadata extraction, and authentication protocols for digital evidence. By Tuesday morning, he had a plan. Parker looked exactly like the brilliant kid who'd aced AP Calculus 3 years ago. Messy hair, coffee stains on his hoodie, fingers that moved across keyboards like a pianist. "This is advanced stuff," Parker said, reviewing Marcus's notes. "But totally doable. You want complete access without detection? Complete access to everything she posts, deletes, or sends, including stuff she thinks is private. Easy. Give me her handle and I'll build you a monitoring dashboard. Updates in real time, saves everything to encrypted storage." Parker paused. "Can I ask why?" "Divorce proceedings," Marcus said. "I need to document financial irregularities." "Say no more." "Teachers don't make enough to get screwed in divorce court." Parker opened his laptop. "What's her main platform?" Within 2 hours, Marcus could see every message Julia sent, every photo she deleted, every draft she saved. The system captured screenshots every 30 seconds and automatically backed up to 3 different cloud services. That night, Julia made dinner. Actually made it, not just recorded herself pretending to make it. "I've been thinking," she said over pasta. "Maybe I should scale back the influencer stuff. Focus more on us, less on the audience." "What brought this on?" Marcus asked. "I don't know. Just feeling like I've lost myself in the whole social media thing, like maybe I became someone I don't recognize." She reached across the table. "Do you feel like you know me anymore?" Marcus looked at his wife. The monitoring dashboard on his phone showed she'd deleted 3 messages to Cam that afternoon and scheduled 4 posts for tomorrow, including a candid video about taking a step back from social media to focus on my marriage. "I'm getting to know you better every day," he said. Parker's fake influencer account went live Thursday morning. The profile belonged to Emma Chen, a 24-year-old lifestyle blogger with a mysteriously rapid follower growth and engagement rates that looked almost too good to be true. Because they were. "Bot followers are cheap," Parker explained over coffee. 5,000 fake accounts cost me $40. She looks popular enough to be interesting, small enough to feel attainable. Emma's first post was a soft critique of performative feminism in the influencer space. Professional photos, thoughtful captions, just enough controversy to spark debate without causing offense. Julia took the bait within 6 hours. "Who is this girl?" she texted Tanya. "Another wannabe trying to come for established creators?" Emma's second post featured a day-in-the-life video suspiciously similar to Julia's content. Same coffee brand, same ring light setup, same effortless morning routine that required 2 hours to film. Julia's response was immediate and brutal. "Imagine being so unoriginal that you copy other people's entire aesthetic," she commented from her main account. "Maybe try developing your own personality first?" "Just a thought." The comment got 43 likes from Julia's followers, before Emma responded with devastating politeness. "Thanks for the feedback. I actually follow a lot of creators for inspiration. Would love to chat about collaboration sometime. I think we could learn from each other." Julia deleted her original comment and blocked Emma, but the damage was documented. Screenshots, timestamps, metadata, all automatically saved to Marcus's monitoring system. Parker expanded Emma's reach over the next 2 weeks. The fake account gained credibility by interviewing real small businesses, featuring authentic lifestyle content, and building genuine engagement with users who didn't know Emma was a digital ghost. "She needs to seem real," Parker explained. So, when Julia inevitably tries to expose her as fake, it backfires. Julia's obsession with Emma grew daily. She spent hours analyzing Emma's posts, comparing engagement rates, and crafting increasingly hostile comments from burner accounts. "This girl is definitely buying followers," Julia told Tanya during a recorded phone call Marcus was capturing through the router monitor. "Nobody grows that fast organically." Maybe she's just good at it, Tanya suggested. Please, look at her content. It's all recycled ideas from bigger creators. She's a total fraud. Julia's voice sharpened. I'm thinking about making a video about copycat influencers. Not mentioning names, obviously, but calling out the behavior. Is that smart? Might look petty. It's not petty if it's true. Someone needs to protect authentic creators from these parasites. Marcus listened to his wife plan Emma's destruction while eating the lunch she'd packed him, a gesture she'd photographed for Instagram with the caption, "Little acts of love matter." Most. The next day, Julia posted a 15-minute video essay about authenticity in the age of imitation. She never mentioned Emma directly, but included several clips that were obviously inspired by Emma's content. When I see creators stealing ideas, copying aesthetics, and buying their way to relevance, it honestly breaks my heart, Julia said to the camera. Those of us who've built our platforms organically, who've shared real pieces of our lives, who've been vulnerable with our audiences, we deserve better than to watch copycats profit from our creativity. The video got 12,000 views and hundreds of supportive comments. Emma responded by direct messaging Julia. Saw your video about authenticity and it really resonated. I'm newer to this space and would love any advice you have for growing genuinely. Would you be open to a quick call? Julia screenshot the message and sent it to her group chat with Tanya and 3 other influencer friends. This girl has zero self-awareness, actually asking for advice after ripping off half my content. The audacity is unreal. Block her, advised it Sarah Livingwell. Or call her out publicly, suggested it mommy blogger Megan. I have a better idea, Julia typed. She accepted Emma's call request. Marcus listened to the entire 30-minute conversation through his monitoring system while grading papers. Julia was condescending, dismissive, and occasionally cruel, explaining to Emma that some people aren't cut out for content creation and that authentic influence can't be faked or bought. Emma played her role perfectly, sounding young, eager, and slightly intimidated. She asked for specific advice about photography, engagement strategies, and brand partnerships. Julia gave detailed answers, including several pieces of information she'd never shared publicly: her actual engagement rates, her real income from sponsors, and her strategy for manipulating algorithm timing. The key, Julia explained, is making your audience feel like they know you personally. Share just enough real stuff to seem relatable, but keep the good stuff private. Like, I talk about marriage challenges, but I never tell them about actual problems. Give them the story they want, not the truth. That's really smart, Emma said. How do you decide what to share? Easy. Would this make me look good or bad? If good, share it. If bad, either don't share it or spin it into a learning moment. My followers don't want reality. They want an improved version of reality they can aspire to. Marcus saved the recording and sent a copy to his attorney. Tanya messaged Marcus on Thursday night. We need to talk. Can you meet me tomorrow after school? Marcus had been expecting this. His monitoring system showed Tanya's growing discomfort with Julia's behavior. Deleted messages, unsent responses, and increasingly long gaps between interactions. They met at a Starbucks 15 minutes from his school. Tanya looked exhausted, her usually perfect makeup slightly smudged, her hands shaking around her coffee cup. I can't do this anymore, she said without preamble. Can't do what? Julia, the lying. The whole fake marriage thing. Tanya pulled out her phone. She's been recording conversations with you without your knowledge. Personal stuff, intimate stuff, planning to use it if you ever try to leave her. Marcus kept his expression neutral. I see. She's got hours of audio from your bedroom, Marcus. Arguments you've had, phone calls with your mom, conversations about money problems. Tanya's voice cracked. She's even recorded you crying after your dad's funeral. Marcus remembered that night. Julia had held him while he sobbed, whispering that everything would be okay, that she'd always be there for him. He'd felt grateful for her comfort, her strength during his weakest moment. She'd been recording it to use as ammunition. Why are you telling me this? Marcus asked. Because I have kids. 2 little girls who look up to Julia, who watch her videos and think that's what marriage looks like. Tanya wiped her eyes. I can't let them grow up thinking it's normal to destroy the person who loves you. She slid a USB drive across the table. Everything's on there. Audio files, screenshots, email chains, her real financial records, the charity scam, the tax evasion, the fake business expenses, all of it. What charity scam? The classroom supplies fundraiser. She raised $8,000 from followers, supposedly for your school. You never saw any of it because it went straight to her personal account. Tanya laughed bitterly. She bought that designer purse with money people donated to help kids. Marcus pocketed the USB drive. What happens when she finds out you gave me this? She already suspects. I've been pulling away, not responding to her calls as quickly. She's paranoid about everyone now. Tanya stood to leave. Marcus, when this all comes out, and it will come out, don't let her make you the villain. She's been planning to destroy you for months. Don't give her the chance. That evening, Marcus sat in his car outside a bar called Murphy's Pub, watching Cam through the window. Julia thought her boyfriend was at a client dinner. Instead, he was on his third beer, flirting with a blonde woman at the bar. Marcus walked inside and approached Cam's table. "Do you rehearse your moans?" he asked quietly. Cam looked up, beer halfway to his mouth. Recognition and panic flashed across his face. "What? When you're with my wife, do you practice the sounds you make, or is that natural?" Cam stood quickly, knocking over his chair. "You need to leave. Now." "I've heard the recordings," Marcus continued conversationally. "Julia keeps everything. Every text, every phone call, every time you two—" Cam threw his beer at Marcus's face. Marcus stepped aside, letting the glass shatter against the wall behind him. The blonde woman screamed. The bartender reached for his phone. "You crazy asshole!" Cam shoved Marcus hard. Marcus absorbed the impact and shoved back, sending Cam stumbling into a shelf of liquor bottles. Glass crashed to the floor. Cam's nose struck the edge of the shelf with a wet crack. "She's recording you too," Marcus said while Cam bled into his hands. "Everything you've said about leaving your wife, about the money you've stolen from clients, about the other women. Did you think you were special?" Marcus left $40 on the table for the mess and walked out. By the time he got home, the incident was already on social media. Someone had filmed the last part, Marcus shoving Cam into the shelf, and posted it with the caption, "Teacher attacks innocent man at Murphy's Pub. What is wrong with people?" Julia saw the video before Marcus walked through their front door. "What the hell happened?" she demanded, holding her phone. "I had a conversation with Cam. He didn't like what I had to say." "You attacked him. There's video, Marcus." "You look completely insane." "I look like a husband who found out his wife is cheating." Julia's face went white. "What are you talking about?" Marcus pulled out his phone and played a 30-second audio clip, Julia and Cam in their bedroom, her voice breathless with laughter, his voice promising to leave his wife as soon as this whole Marcus situation was resolved. "Where did you get that?" Julia whispered. "You recorded it. I just found where you kept it." Julia stared at him, calculating. Marcus could see her switching modes, from defensive to strategic, from caught to planning her next move. "We need to talk," she said. "Yes," Marcus agreed. "We do." Julia launched her offensive at 6 a.m. with an Instagram Live titled, "When Marriage Gets Complicated." She sat in their bathroom, tears streaming down her face, voice shaking with practiced vulnerability. "I don't know how to say this," she began. "Last night, my husband attacked an innocent person because of his jealousy and paranoia. I've been trying to hide how bad things have gotten, trying to protect his reputation, but I can't anymore." Marcus watched from his classroom, the live stream playing on his phone, while 30 calculus students worked through practice problems. Julia had 847 viewers and climbing. "He's been accusing me of cheating for months with no evidence, going through my phone, following me, making threats." Julia wiped her nose with tissues. "Last night he confronted my business partner at a bar and physically assaulted him. There's video." "I'm scared of what he might do next." The comments poured in. "Call the police. Get somewhere safe. This is abuse." Julia read the supportive messages aloud, her voice breaking at particularly sympathetic ones. "I keep thinking about how he used to be," she continued. "He was so sweet when we met, so supportive of my dreams. But success changed me, and I think it threatened him. He can't handle that I've built something bigger than his teaching career." Marcus closed the app and called Daria Wynn. "I saw the live stream," she said. 800 people watched her accuse you of domestic violence. "Are you somewhere safe?" "I'm at school. She's at home performing for the internet. This is exactly what we prepared for. Time to move." Daria's voice was crisp, professional. "I'm filing for emergency asset protection and sending cease and desist letters to her business partners." Can you get to the bank by noon? Marcus left school during his lunch break and froze their joint checking account, their savings, and the business credit card Julia used for influencer expenses. He moved half of their legitimate assets to a separate account, exactly half, nothing more, completely legal. He also provided the bank with documentation of Julia's financial fraud, the fake charity, the unreported income, the business expenses that were actually personal purchases. By 2 p.m., Julia's debit card was declined at Target. By 3 p.m., her business account was frozen pending investigation. By 4 p.m., Daria's cease and desist letters had reached every brand Julia worked with, informing them of potential fraud liability and advising them to suspend all partnerships pending legal resolution. Marcus arrived home to find Julia on the phone with her bank, crying. "What do you mean, frozen? I have bills to pay." She saw Marcus and covered the phone. "What did you do?" "Protected our assets during divorce proceedings." Completely standard. "Divorce?" Julia's voice pitched higher. "I never said anything about divorce." "You've been planning to leave me for 8 months. I found the exit strategy files." Julia ended the call and stared at him. "You've been spying on me. You've been recording me without consent for 2 years, including private conversations with my attorney." "That's different." "How?" Julia couldn't answer. Marcus watched her realize that every manipulation tactic she'd used was now being deployed against her. Documentation, evidence, strategic timing, public narrative control. "This isn't you," she said finally. "You're not this calculating. You're a teacher. You grade papers and read books and care about kids. You don't wage war." "You taught me," Marcus replied. 2 years of masterclasses in strategic deception, audience manipulation, and long-term planning. "I'm a very good student." Julia grabbed her phone and started recording. "He's admitted it," she said to the camera. "He's been spying on me, stealing my money, sabotaging my business out of jealousy. This is what emotional abuse looks like: systematic destruction of your partner's independence and livelihood." She posted the video immediately with hashtags: #domestic abuse, #financial abuse, #emotional abuse, #teacher turned abuser. The video got 2,000 views in 10 minutes. Marcus waited for her to finish, then played an audio file on his phone. Julia's voice, from 3 months ago. "The beauty of the exit plan is making him look like the bad guy. Financial abuse, emotional manipulation, maybe hints of physical violence? My audience will eat up the survival story. Brave woman escapes controlling husband who couldn't handle her success." Julia went very still. "I have 847 hours of recordings, Julia. Every conversation, every plan, every lie you've told. Your followers heard you accuse me of domestic violence this morning. Tonight, they're going to hear you plan to fake domestic violence." Marcus walked to their bedroom and started packing a suitcase. "Where are you going?" Julia followed him. "Hotel. My attorney advised against staying in the same house during proceedings." "You can't just leave. What about the mortgage?" "The bills?" "The bills will be paid from our joint account once the bank verifies which expenses are legitimate and which are fraud." Marcus folded his shirts methodically. "Should take about a week. Marcus, please. We can work this out. Marriage counseling, therapy, whatever you want. Don't throw away 15 years over some stupid mistake." Marcus looked at his wife. She was still beautiful, still compelling, still capable of making him doubt his own perceptions, almost. "It wasn't a mistake," he said. "It was a strategy. The only mistake was not executing it before I found out." He zipped the suitcase and walked toward the door. "I never stopped loving you," Julia called after him. "I know," Marcus replied without turning around. "That's what made this so easy." Julia's response video went live at midnight. "The truth about my marriage." She'd spent 6 hours crafting it: professional lighting, multiple outfit changes, carefully edited emotional moments. The final product looked like a short documentary about surviving psychological abuse. "I want to tell you the real story," Julia began, seated in their living room wearing Marcus's old college sweatshirt. "About how a man I loved and trusted gradually isolated me, controlled me, and eventually tried to destroy me when I found the strength to succeed." She showed screenshots of text messages, real ones, but curated and stripped of context. Marcus asking where she was at 11 p.m. looked controlling without the context that she'd said she'd be home at 8. Marcus, questioning a $400 charge, looked financial abuse without mentioning it was the fourth designer purchase that week. He tracked my location, read my emails, monitored my business accounts, Julia continued. When I started making more money than him, the emotional abuse escalated. He couldn't handle that his wife was successful, while he was still just a teacher making $47,000 a year. The video interspersed Julia's testimony with clips from her earlier content. Moments where she'd praised Marcus, called their marriage goals, thanked him for his support. The contrast was devastating. I know this doesn't match what you've seen before, she addressed the contradiction directly. That's because I was protecting him, covering for him, making excuses because I thought love meant accepting abuse. She showed viewers the video of Marcus shoving Cam at the bar, played without audio. This is who he really is. Violent, jealous, unable to handle any challenge to his authority. Julia wiped away tears. I'm sharing this because other women need to know they're not alone. Abuse doesn't always leave visible scars. The video ended with Julia in their bedroom packing a suitcase. I don't know where I'll go from here, but I know I deserve better than this. We all do. Within 2 hours, the video had 50,000 views and thousands of comments supporting Julia's bravery in speaking out. #Julia Deserves Better started trending on Twitter. Local news picked up the story by morning. Teacher accused of domestic abuse by influencer wife. Marcus watched the coverage from his hotel room while drinking coffee and reviewing legal documents. His phone buzzed with messages from concerned colleagues, confused friends, and his principal asking if he needed time off. At 10 a.m., he uploaded a single audio file to a new YouTube account. The file was Julia's voice from 4 months ago, talking to Cam about her exit strategy. The key is documentation without obvious staging. Real fights work better than fake ones, so I'll provoke him until he says something I can use. Teachers are so self-righteous. He'll lecture me about honesty or responsibility, and I'll frame it as controlling behavior. What if he doesn't take the bait? Cam's voice asked. Then I'll create the content I need. Bruises are easy to fake if you know what you're doing. My audience wants to support abuse survivors. It's literally the most engaging content possible. That's dark even for you. It's strategic. Women love a survival story. Men love feeling protective, and everyone loves watching a villain get what they deserve. Plus, abuse narratives are PR gold. Brands fall all over themselves to support brave survivors. Marcus titled the file, The Truth About Julia Hartwell's Abuse Story, and included timestamps matching specific claims from her video. Within 3 hours, Julia's supportive comments turned vicious. Her video's like-to-dislike ratio inverted. #Julia Exposed began trending above #Julia Deserves Better. Marcus received a text from Julia. You bastard! That recording is illegal. He replied, one-party consent state, completely legal. More coming tonight. At 6 p.m., Marcus released the full conversation where Julia had planned to fake abuse allegations, including her research into which injuries look convincing but heal quickly, and her practice sessions for authentic crying on camera. By 8 p.m., every major influencer gossip account had covered the story. Commentary channels analyzed Julia's previous content for signs of manipulation. Reddit threads dissected her old posts, finding inconsistencies and staged elements that had been invisible before the context changed. Julia tried damage control with another live stream, but only 200 people watched. The comments were brutal. How many lies have you told? Those tears look as fake as everything else. Your husband should sue you into poverty. She ended the stream after 12 minutes. Marcus was grading papers when his hotel phone rang at 11 p.m. Marcus, it's Tanya. Julia's been calling me for hours. She's completely losing it. What does she want? For me to say the recordings are fake. She's offering me money, threatening to expose personal stuff about my divorce, begging me to lie for her. Tanya sounded exhausted. She can't understand why I won't help her destroy you. What did you tell her? That I'm done being part of her games. That maybe if she'd been honest from the beginning, none of this would have happened. Tanya paused. She's not going to stop, Marcus. She's going to fight dirty. Dirtier than faking domestic violence? Yeah, much dirtier. Julia struck back Thursday morning by releasing Marcus's personal information online. His school address, his classroom number, his work email, and his personal cell phone. Everything she thought might generate harassment. This man has access to children every day, she posted across all platforms. Parents deserve to know who's teaching their kids. Marcus Hartwell, Westfield High School, room 237. Ask yourselves, do you want your daughter learning calculus from an emotional abuser? The post included Marcus's photo and a call to action. Contact the school board. Demand accountability. Protect our children from predators in positions of trust. Marcus received 47 phone calls before 9 a.m. The school board received over 200 emails demanding his termination. His principal called an emergency meeting. "I can't ignore this volume of complaints," Dr. Richards said. "I know you, Marcus. I've worked with you for 8 years, but parents are threatening to pull their kids from your classes." "Have you watched the recordings?" Marcus asked. "The evidence that she planned all of this? I've seen them. But public perception matters in education. The district is recommending you take paid leave until this resolves." Marcus nodded. He'd expected this. How long? However long it takes for the story to die down. Could be weeks, could be months. Dr. Richards looked genuinely apologetic. "I'm sorry, Marcus. You're a good teacher. This situation is just bigger than what we can handle." Marcus cleaned out his classroom that afternoon, while Parker worked on the technical response. By evening, they had deployed an automated system that reported every instance of Julia's content for harassment, doxing, and targeted abuse. "The beauty of platform algorithms," Parker explained, "is they don't care about context. They just see patterns. Julia's been posting personal information, encouraging harassment, and coordinating attacks. That's against every platform's terms of service." The reports triggered automated reviews across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Julia's accounts received warnings, then suspensions, then strikes that limited her reach. More importantly, Parker had created dozens of fake accounts that systematically reported every sponsored post Julia had ever made, flooding brand partners with evidence of fraud, fake engagement, and FTC violations for undisclosed paid partnerships. "She's been violating advertising disclosure laws for 2 years. Parker showed Marcus the documentation. Every brand deal, every sponsored post, every gifted product she didn't properly label. That's Federal Trade Commission territory. By Friday, Julia had lost 3 major sponsorship deals. Her talent agency dropped her. 2 clothing brands demanded refunds for campaigns that hadn't delivered promised engagement. But the real damage came from her followers themselves. The community Julia had built, women who believed in her authenticity, her marriage goals, her feminist empowerment message, felt personally betrayed. They didn't just unfollow. They actively worked to expose every lie they could find in her old content. Someone found the receipt for the designer purse Julia had bought with charity money. Someone else discovered that the spontaneous romantic gestures from Marcus had been staged for content, with Julia directing him through multiple takes. A former sponsor revealed that Julia had demanded free products in exchange for posts, then sold the items online for cash. The influencer ecosystem that had celebrated Julia now turned its energy toward destroying her. Every drama channel, every gossip account, every commentary creator made content about her downfall. Marcus watched it happen from his hotel room, feeling strangely detached from the chaos he'd orchestrated. His phone buzzed with a text from Julia. "Please make it stop. I'll do whatever you want." He didn't reply. Saturday morning brought Julia's desperation live stream. The whole truth. Final statement. She looked haggard, exhausted, sitting in her car in what appeared to be a parking lot. "I know most of you hate me now," she began. "I know I've lost your trust, your support, everything I worked for, but I need you to understand something. Only 43 people were watching. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I planned to leave Marcus. Yes, I said horrible things about him and our marriage." Julia's voice cracked. "But I never meant for any of this to go this far. I never wanted to hurt innocent people." She held up her phone, showing the flood of hate messages in her DMs. "You're telling me to kill myself. You're sending me death threats. You're calling my family, my friends, my neighbors." Tears streamed down her face. "Whatever I did wrong, I don't deserve this." The few viewers in the chat were unmoved. "You did this to yourself. Should have thought about consequences. Fake tears won't work anymore." Julia ended the stream abruptly. Marcus returned to their house Monday afternoon to collect more belongings. Julia's car was in the driveway, but the house felt abandoned. Dirty dishes filled the sink. Unopened mail covered the kitchen counter. The ring lights and camera equipment she'd used for content sat gathering dust. He found Julia in their bedroom, laptop open, staring at her email inbox with a shell-shocked expression. 12,437 messages, she said without looking up, since Friday. All of them telling me what a terrible person I am. Marcus stood in the doorway watching his wife scroll through pages of hatred, much of it deserved, but overwhelming in its volume and vitriol. Some of them are creative, Julia continued, her voice eerily calm. Death threats, sure, but also people who found my mom's address, my sister's workplace, Cam's wife's Facebook page. They're systematically destroying everyone connected to me. She turned to face him. Is this what you wanted? Marcus set down his suitcase. I wanted the truth. The truth, Julia laughed bitterly. The truth is that I'm a selfish person who got caught. The truth is that you're smarter than I gave you credit for. The truth is that we destroyed each other. She gestured at her laptop screen. But look at what the truth created. Thousands of strangers who feel justified in telling me to drink bleach because I cheated on my husband. You didn't just cheat, you planned to frame me for abuse. I know what I did. Julia closed the laptop. But you knew exactly how this would play out. You knew the internet would tear me apart. You calculated every move to cause maximum damage. Marcus couldn't deny it. He had known, had planned for it, had weaponized the same audience Julia had manipulated for years. Where's Cam? He asked. Gone. Hasn't answered my calls since Thursday. His wife saw the recordings. She's filing for divorce, too. Julia stood up, smoothing her wrinkled clothes. Turns out he was recording me, too. Insurance, he called it. Everyone's got insurance now. She walked to their dresser and pulled out a manila envelope. Speaking of insurance, she handed it to Marcus. That's everything. Bank records, business accounts, the real numbers for my sponsorships. I've been hiding money from you for 2 years, but it's all documented in there. Marcus opened the envelope. Financial statements, tax documents, bank records showing deposits he'd never seen. Why? He asked. Because I'm tired. Because fighting you is like fighting a chess master when I only know how to play checkers. Julia sat on their bed, their former bed. Because maybe I deserve what's happening to me. Marcus looked at his wife, really looked at her. The woman who'd built a career on projection, on carefully curated authenticity, on making thousands of strangers believe they knew her personally. Now she looked smaller, more human, more like the person he'd married 15 years ago. The IRS contacted me this morning, Julia said. Audit, criminal investigation. They're treating the charity fraud as potential federal charges. You brought that on yourself. I know. Just like you brought this on yourself. She gestured at the space between them. We're both going to lose everything we built. Your teaching career, my business, our marriage, our house. Was the revenge worth it? Marcus considered the question seriously. 3 weeks ago, he'd been a high school calculus teacher married to a successful influencer. Now, he was unemployed, living in a hotel, and married to a woman the internet had decided to hate. But he wasn't the one who'd been planning to fake abuse allegations. He wasn't the one who'd stolen money donated for school supplies. He wasn't the one who'd built a career on lies. Ask me in a year, he said. Julia nodded. Fair enough. Marcus finished packing his belongings while Julia sat silently on the bed. As he reached the door, she spoke one last time. For what it's worth, I did love you. Before all this started, during the planning, even now, that was never fake. Marcus paused at the threshold. I know. That's what made it hurt so much. He left without saying goodbye. Julia made one final attempt to control her narrative Wednesday evening with a live stream titled Rebuilding from Rock Bottom. 17 people tuned in. I know most of you have already made up your minds about me, she began, sitting in her living room. But I want to try one more time to explain my side of things. She'd clearly prepared extensively. Notes sat just off camera. Her makeup was perfect despite the exhaustion in her eyes. The lighting was professional, though the ring light cast harsh shadows that made her look older. I'm not going to lie anymore. I'm not going to spin this or make excuses. Yes, I cheated on my husband. Yes, I planned to leave him. Yes, I said terrible things about him and our marriage. The viewer count dropped to 12. But I want you to understand the context. I felt trapped in a life that was too small for who I was becoming. Marcus is a good man, but he never supported my dreams. He never encouraged my business. He saw my success as a threat to his masculinity. Still making excuses, typed one of the 3 people participating in chat. Julia read the comment and paused. You're right. I am making excuses. That's what I do. I find ways to make other people responsible for my choices. She looked directly at the camera. The truth is, I became someone I don't recognize. Someone who valued followers more than friends, money more than marriage, content more than character. I turned my life into a performance and forgot where the performance ended and reality began. The viewer count climbed to 21 as word spread that Julia was having a breakdown on camera. Marcus didn't destroy me, she continued. I destroyed myself. He just documented it and showed everyone what I'd become. Someone in chat asked about the charity money. I spent $8,000 that people donated to help kids buy classroom supplies. I spent it on clothes and makeup and dinners with a man who wasn't my husband. Julia's voice broke. Those were teachers' money, parents' money, people who thought they were helping children. The chat exploded with anger, but Julia kept talking. I recorded private conversations with my husband without his permission. I planned to accuse him of abuse he never committed. I was going to destroy a good man's reputation to protect my own image. She held up her phone showing her social media accounts. This is what's left of my career. 43 followers on Instagram, 12 on TikTok. The YouTube channel I spent 3 years building has been deleted. Every brand partnership, gone. Every friendship, ended. Julia set the phone down and looked directly at the camera. But the worst part isn't losing my business. It's realizing that I deserve to lose it. I built everything on lies, and lies don't make good foundations. The live stream had 60 viewers now, drawn by the spectacle of complete professional collapse. I don't know what happens next, Julia said. I'll probably have to sell the house. I'll definitely face charges for the charity fraud. My marriage is over, my career is over, and I have no one to blame but myself. She paused, gathering herself. If you're watching this because you hate me, I understand. If you're watching because you used to follow me, I'm sorry. If you're watching because you want to see someone hit rock bottom, congratulations. You've got front row seats. Julia reached toward her laptop, then stopped. One more thing. To the women who looked up to me, who thought I represented something good about female empowerment or marriage goals or authentic living, I'm sorry I let you down. You deserved better than what I gave you. The screen went black. Marcus watched the archived stream from his hotel room, feeling something he hadn't expected. Pity. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, but genuine sadness for the person Julia had become and the person she might have been. His phone buzzed with a text from Parker. Did you see? All her accounts are going dark. She's deleting everything. Marcus didn't reply. He closed his laptop and went to bed, wondering if winning was supposed to feel this empty. Thursday morning brought federal agents to Julia's door. Marcus watched from his car across the street as IRS criminal investigation officers served warrants for her computers, phones, and financial records. Julia stood in their doorway, wearing the same clothes from yesterday's live stream, signing documents with shaking hands. Neighbors gathered on sidewalks and porches, some filming with their phones. The investigation would find exactly what Marcus had documented: systematic tax evasion, charity fraud, unreported income, and false business deductions totaling nearly $40,000 over 2 years. But that wasn't why Marcus was there. He was waiting for Cam. Cam's BMW appeared at 11:30 a.m., just as Marcus had predicted. Julia had texted her former lover that morning. Marcus's monitoring system was still active, begging him to help her pack important items before the IRS seized everything. Cam parked 3 houses down and walked quickly to the back door, trying to avoid the neighbors and news van that had arrived an hour earlier. Marcus gave him 10 minutes, then followed. He found them in the bedroom, Julia stuffing jewelry and cash into a garbage bag while Cam loaded her expensive camera equipment into boxes. Going somewhere? Marcus asked from the doorway. Cam dropped a laptop bag. Julia spun around, her face cycling through surprise, fear, and calculation. Marcus, she said carefully, I thought you were staying at the hotel. I am. Just came to collect something I forgot. Marcus stepped into the room. Cam, good to see you again. How's your nose? Cam's nose was still swollen from their bar encounter, the bridge slightly crooked where it had met the shelf. You broke into your own house, Cam said. That's probably illegal. My name's still on the deed. Julia? Are you planning a trip? Julia looked at the bag of jewelry in her hands, the obvious evidence of flight preparation. I need to stay somewhere else until this investigation ends. Reporters won't leave me alone. Where were you thinking? Cam's place? Or somewhere without extradition treaties? Cam stepped forward, positioning himself between Marcus and Julia. You need to leave. Now. Actually, I think you need to leave. Both of you. Marcus pulled out his phone. I've got a recording of your conversation from 20 minutes ago. The one where you discussed liquidating Julia's remaining assets and disappearing to Canada until this all blows over. Julia and Cam exchanged looks. That's not what Julia started. Flight to Toronto, 6:15 p.m. departure. Hotel reservation under Cam's name. Plan to sell the jewelry and equipment to fund an extended stay while you wait for the story to die down. Marcus read from his phone. Should I call this into the IRS or do you want to unpack those bags? Cam's face reddened. You bastard! You've been recording everything, haven't you? Everything. Including your plans to disappear with evidence in a federal investigation. This is harassment. Cam stepped closer to Marcus. Stalking, recording without consent, invasion of privacy. I could have you arrested. You could try. But that would require admitting you were here helping someone flee a federal investigation. Marcus smiled. Go ahead, call the police. I'll wait. Cam pulled out his phone, then hesitated. Marcus could see him calculating the risks. His own legal exposure, his divorce proceedings, his business reputation. That's what I thought, Marcus said. Julia, you're free to go wherever you want, but the jewelry stays here. The equipment stays here. The cash stays here. Those are marital assets subject to court division. You can't keep me prisoner in my own house, Julia said. I'm not keeping you anywhere. I'm just ensuring you don't commit additional federal crimes while you're free on your own recognizance. Marcus walked to the window and opened it. Officer Morrison? They're ready for you now. A police officer appeared in the backyard. Marcus had called ahead, explaining the situation to a detective who'd been following the case. Cam grabbed Julia's arm. We're leaving. Now. No, Julia pulled away. I'm not running anymore. What? Cam stared at her. I said I'm not running. I'm tired of running. Julia dropped the bag of jewelry. I'm going to stay here and face whatever happens. Are you insane? They're talking about federal charges. Prison time. Maybe I deserve prison time. Cam looked between Julia and Marcus, realizing his escape plan was collapsing. Fine, he said. Handle this yourself. I'm done cleaning up your messes. He headed for the door, then turned back. And Julia, that recording he mentioned, I sold copies to 3 different tabloids yesterday. This whole conversation, your plan to run, everything. TMZ paid me $12,000. Julia went white. What? You think you're the only one who knows how to monetize drama? I've been recording you for months. Insurance, remember? Cam grinned. The audio of you planning to frame Marcus for abuse? That's going live on Entertainment Tonight tomorrow. He left through the back door, passing Officer Morrison on his way out. Julia sat heavily on their bed, staring at the wall. He sold me out, she said quietly. He actually sold me out. Yes, Marcus agreed. He did. For $12,000. Seems about right. Market rate for recorded confessions these days. Julia laughed, a broken, hysterical sound. I really am an idiot, aren't I? I thought he loved me. I thought we were partners. You thought a lot of things that weren't true. Officer Morrison knocked on the bedroom door. Mrs. Hartwell, I need to ask you some questions about your travel plans. Julia stood up, smoothing her clothes, preparing for another performance. But then she stopped and looked at Marcus. Will you be here when I get back? Probably not. Will I see you again? After all this is over? Marcus considered the question. 15 years of marriage, 2 years of lies, 3 weeks of war. I don't know, he said honestly. Julia nodded and walked toward Officer Morrison, leaving Marcus alone in their bedroom with boxes of evidence and the wreckage of their life together. 3 months later, Marcus stood in the memoir section of Barnes & Noble, running his fingers along book spines while rain drummed against the windows. He'd been in bookstores every day since the teaching suspension became permanent, not shopping, just existing in spaces that felt honest. Julia had pleaded guilty to charity fraud and tax evasion the week before, accepting an 18-month sentence and full restitution to avoid additional charges. The story had faded from social media, replaced by newer scandals and fresher outrage. Marcus's phone buzzed with a text from Parker. Entertainment Weekly wants to interview you. Book deal interest from 3 publishers. You're famous now. Marcus deleted the message without responding.